Well,
seems
8 years
completely
as a
lost.
vice president, you know.
Well, yeah, but I mean, vice presidents go to funerals and things like that. So less of that. But he was still in the loop.
Mm.
So given his 50 plus years of experience on the Hill.
Well, where has the Fed been? Now 75 basis points.
But, you know, what does it mean? I mean, 75 basis points, yes, it's going to send the economy into a recession. It's not going to produce one barrel of oil, nor is it going to grow one, you know,
grain of food.
Yeah. It's puzzling. What do you think?
I think a game is being played. It's really gaming for politics. Because if you look at all the economists' forecasts last year, in the third quarter and the fourth quarter of last year, they're talking about inflation rate of 2% this year. And that's what the Congressional Budget Office, that's what the Treasury, that's what the Fed were all predicting, right?
Yeah, but we're long past that.
Exactly.
8.5%, largest in 40 years.
40 years.
So,
but it's amazing how the government and the elite of America have believed that it would be 2% this year.
But there's no, I mean, look, there's no way to get it down to 2%. It's that has passed. The issue is a recession. You have Larry Summers coming out and just saying, well, we're going into a recession. I hope it's not as bad and doesn't turn into a depression. I mean, isn't that pretty much game over? We're looking at stagflation, where the inflation rises and the economy tanks. I don't understand the Fed's move. They got to do something. They have no tools. It's not like China. Mm-hmm. But I have no idea where this is going. Do you?
No, I think you're right. They're talking about a recession in 2023. But I think we're headed in that direction already. Ultimately, I think there are two things. If you take off the tariffs on the trade war, that's probably about 1.3 to 1.5% of consumer price index. But
that leaves 7.
That's right. It was your choice, Washington, D.C. and the White House, to put sanctions on Russian energy, right?
But you see, this is the problem that I'm having with a lot of Biden's move. I mean, he's a nice guy. No one says he isn't. But he seems to be lost. I mean, this 1.5% savings could have been had
a year and a half ago.
Yes. Come out of the box. Say, Trump was wrong, right? Mm-hmm. He's taken money out of your pocket. Mm-hmm. Here's the opportunity. I'm putting it back in. Mm-hmm. And now he's waited until inflation is at an all-time high. He's literally being forced to do this. I don't understand. I mean, they've been having this debate inside the White House between his advisors since day one. And he seems incapable of, making the right decision. I think it's politics.
It's politics, but the other one is just as ridiculous. How do you expect to put sanctions on Russian energy and not impact the global market?
Well, I think the idea there was that the U.S. could fill in, but we can't. There's not enough LNG carriers.
That's right.
There's not enough, processing.
Well, they should have at least thought about that, right?
Yeah, but this is things. I mean, I was struck by the fact that he, during this last period, I mean, I'm just talking in general politics here. So he has a meeting with Bolsonaro, all right, the president of Brazil.
Yeah.
2 days after, Bolsonaro said that the legitimacy of his election as president
That's right.
is murky, questionable.
That's right.
He doesn't want to meet Bolsonaro. Mm-hmm. Bolsonaro represents everything he doesn't like. Mm-hmm. He thinks he's autocratic. He thinks that he's a climate change denier. He doesn't like what he's doing in the Amazon.
And he's a Trump supporter.
And there is that, right? And yet he has a meeting with him. He had to be gritting his teeth. Now he's doing the same thing with Saudi Arabia. He doesn't like, MBS. He blames him for the Khashoggi murder. All right. And yet he's meeting with him. Mm-hmm. So it seems that rather than meeting people who would be direct, and I'm not saying that MBS is not consequential or Bolsonaro, but he could have met with Putin.
That's right.
He could have met with Xi.
That's right.
He could be meeting with people who could change the board, literally. And yet he's meeting with people he doesn't like.
That's right. Not only he doesn't like, but it seems to be there's a significant segment of the U.S. population don't like.
Yeah, but where is he going? It just doesn't clear. Meeting with Bolsonaro and MBS is not going to advance the American
people's interest.
That's
right.
I mean,
it's just like taking off the tariffs would advance American people's interest, but he doesn't do that. It's just like sanctions on Russian energy and Russian. Oh, how about fertilizers? How about grain? How about all of this? Every decision that's been taken is to promote politics.
Yeah, but it isn't working. He has the lowest poll ratings of any president since they started taking polls. I mean, if you're banging your head against the wall, at what point do you say to yourself, maybe this isn't the right approach? I just don't see how he's doing it. Now, I really do think in 4 months from now, you're going to see a red wave coming into Congress.
Yeah.
You're going to have a dysfunctional government, but at the same time, you're going to have a massive crisis
of the economy.
Yeah. And when that hits, hopefully, there will be some rationality, some change will come back in, because you only have two directions. You either double down on something that's not working, or you try to figure out something that can.
What's particularly interesting in this, in terms of 4 months from now, when the midterm elections take place, is that even from a outsider, bystander, observer, Mr. Biden has created so many situations to be easily attacked by the Republicans.
Yeah.
You know, he's done.
But he's been trying to keep away from it. He was timid about withdrawing first the troops, and then he said he'd go all in. But also the tariffs,
thing,
the tariffs.
Yes, the tariffs
from Afghan troops, tariffs, not only against China, but against even partners. I mean, he's meeting with ASEAN, and he has, and then with South Korea and Japan, he still has tariffs on those countries.
That's right. And then this thing about sanctions against Russian energy. How can you not have a plan? How can you not have a plan? How can you imagine a significant portion of global supply? Oh, maybe you can assume the Qataris, the Saudis, they'll do our bidding.
There's no assumption. I mean, when planning, it's all about numbers.
That's right.
It's about cold, hard facts. How many ships can transport LNG?
That's right.
How many how many places can compress it, and how many places can you uncompress it?
That's right.
Because you have to warm it up gradually.
Receiving
stations, compression stations, ships. This is not, I have confidence. This is either it exists or it doesn't exist.
Exactly.
It's like a pipeline. It either exists or it doesn't exist.
So the facts were all there before all this happened.
Yeah, I mean, it would be easy to say that there's some logic behind it. But right now, I can't see it.
I don't see it either.
It seems to me that the Biden administration, along with the Trump administration, has consistently made bad decisions. Who they meet with, how they meet with them, the lack of planning. I mean, these are rookie mistakes. These are things that I would expect out of somebody who...
Well, out of Donald Trump, he's a rookie. But not out of the Biden administration. These are people who've been in Washington for so long.
Look, for 12 years, he was either the chairman or the ranking member on the Senate Foreign Relations Committee.
That's right. And for 8 years, he was the vice president.
Well, yeah, but vice presidents go to funerals and things like that. So less of that. But he was still in the loop. So given his 50 plus years of experience on the Hill, it's shocking how many missteps, how many small items are being
and his
pushed
team,
aside.
If you look at his team, including Jake Sullivan and company, are people who've been with him for decades.
Yeah, so it's not like, we don't know how to work together. But there's still, ironically, there's still a lot of infighting going on. And
Catherine Tai.
Kamala Harris where has she been? I mean, She was
Haven't
supposed
seen
to
her
lead.
anywhere.
Well, no, she was supposed to be leading this whole summit of the Americas. She was the point person down in South America. Remember, he threw, in her mind, he threw her under the bus by saying, there's a bad crisis down on the Mexican border. Go solve it. Remember, she didn't go.
She didn't
Instead,
go.
she went down into South America trying to craft something. But what's emerged from this summit of the Americas? Nothing. You know, we didn't think there were any hopes for it, but
it was a
really,
joke, her visit to ASEAN countries too, last year.
Well, yeah. I mean, it just doesn't seem to get traction. So you have a vice president who's failed to get traction. A lot of her staff are leaving. You have the president. He's losing some legal side, and he's anticipating that he's going to be the subject of endless investigations, impeachment proceedings against him in the House when the Republicans take over. And they're not even making a secret that they're beefing up their legal team in order to handle that.